Hi guys, so thank you so much for helping me pick an outfit. So this is what I'm going to be recreating. So this here is a butterfly gown and it has a combination on it, so I was able to get something similar to this. So my name is Deratailor. Welcome back to my channel. So this was what I got. This is not like a Kampala, sorry, but then I got the blue. This is the combination part I'm going to be putting on it. I was supposed to use this Kampala, but I just changed my mind because I really like the blue. So what I just did was, it's already folded into two. This is one part, this is second part, representing the front and the back. So for the length, for the flower part, the length is going to be from my shoulder to below my knee, shoulder to below knee, which was 38 inches. So instead of 38, I made it 38 and a half, or you could make it 39. So just calculate your shoulder to your under knee. So that was what I got, my shoulder to under of my knee. So that was how I got it. This is the back, and then this is the front part, just as I said, because it's folded into two, is on fold. The next thing I did was to measure my shoulder measurement, shoulder divided by 2, because it's folded into two, and it was 7 inches. So my shoulder is 7 inches. Using my chalk, I just indicated it at the point where I marked 7 inches, right? The next thing I'm going to calculate is my sleeve length. My sleeve length is 13 inches. So from the point where I marked in 7 inches, I placed my tape directly at that point, and I marked 13 inches for my sleeve length. So I indicated that as well. You could see it here. So I indicated this just as I said. So the next thing I'm going to do is to calculate all I've already gotten, both my shoulder and my sleeve length. So I placed it at the bottom part, at the top part, and I got 21 inches. So plus my shoulder and my sleeve length, it gave me 21 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is go all the way down by 21 inches, marking the width of it at 21 inches. I'm going all the way down by 21 inches. So just watch what I'm doing at this point. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just coming all the way down by 21 inches that we got our shoulder to our sleeve. So you see what I did, I chalked it down to the bottom part, you can see, and then I'm just going to cut it off after the remaining excess that I'm not going to be working with. After doing that, I came to the top part again. You could see this is the top part that I came with. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure my neckline. So my neckline width is 3.5 inches. That is what I'm working with. So I marked 3.5 inch at that point, and then for the back depth, the neckline depth for the back, I'm using 1.5 inch. So this is for the back part. So I'm just going to connect the lines together. So I connected the depth and the width part together. So after doing that, I placed my tape at the top point, and then I came down by 8 inches, which will represent my neckline for the front. So after marking 8 inches, I'm going to go out by 1/2 inch. This is a scrub neckline that we are going to be doing today. So I came out by 1/2 inch at the point where I marked 8 inches, and I'm just going to use my chalk to indicate it. So after doing this, I'm going to use my ruler to connect the line together. You could see where I connected together. So you could see, remember, I came out by 1/2 inch. So you coming out by 1 inch is too much, so 1/2 inch is very okay for that. So after doing this, the next thing I'm just going to do is to cut off everything that I have made here. If you've been learning something on this channel and you've not yet subscribed, then please do like and subscribe. I normally give a detailed explanation of different styles that I do recreate, and I also let my subscribers choose a style that they want me to recreate. So if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, please do by subscribing to my channel. What I'm just doing now is trimming out the excesses from the point where we marked 21 inches as our width. So that's just what I'm doing. I'm trimming out the excesses. I started from the bottom part and I'm going to the top part. I just trimmed out all the excesses that are here. So what I'm just doing here is to join the shoulder area of both the front and the back. So I'm just trying to gently place them together, and then I'm just going to show you using my fingers how I'm going to sew it. You could see the direction of my fingers. I'm going to repeat the same process at this other point. Place the shoulders together, make sure they are facing each other at the wrong side. Then I'm just going to go ahead to sew that area. So after doing that, this was what it was looking like. I already went ahead to sew the shoulder area. You could see where my stitches are, where I made my stitches. I made sure to use a black thread so that you guys can see it. So I sewed it at the both sides. So the next thing we're going to do, this is the plain fabric I'm working with. Remember guys, the butterfly, that's the flower part, is from our shoulder to our knee. So to get this plain part measurement, all you just have to do is to measure your main measurement. So if your main measurement, that's the length, is 55, and then this flower part, if your shoulder to knee is 45, so 55 minus 45, you get it. If it's 10, so your plain part is supposed to be 10, but then instead of 10, you make it what? You make it 12 because of folding allowance. So I made sure that it was 12 that it gave me at this point. And also for the width of it, I just measured out the width of my flower part, and then that was exactly the same width I made for this part. So you can see what I did. I joined it at the knee area, and after joining it, this is what it was looking like. So please don't get confused. All you just have to do is to minus your main length and your shoulder to your knee, so it will give you what you are going to use to cut the plain parts. So that is what you just have to do. So you could see how I sewed it. I already went ahead to iron it. So now this is what I'm using for the back, to complete the back. That is from my knee to my down, and I'm using this because I ran out of plain, so I just had to use the same material to do this. So I just did this exactly. I made sure that I subtracted my length to my shoulder to knee. So I made sure I subtracted my original length to my shoulder to knee, and it gave me what I'm going to use for this part. I also went ahead to join it, making sure the width of the flower part correspond with this other plain part also. So you could see what I did. So the next thing we're going to do is we are just going to go ahead to fold all this now. So we're just going to go ahead to fold all this. So I'm just going to show you the pattern at which I'm folding, and I'm folding from the bottom part to the next bottom part. So I'm folding from the bottom part of one side of the back to the bottom part of the front. So the bottom part of the back to the bottom part of the front. So please don't get confused. So after folding it, I'm just going to go ahead to show you what I did. So you could see what I did here. I've already went ahead to fold it. So you could see the folding. I folded the bottom part. I folded the bottom part all together. I folded all the areas from the front bottom part. I folded it along to the back bottom part. So don't get confused. I'm just showing you guys what I did from one bottom part to the next part. To get the middle parts of the front and the back, I just folded it into two, and then I ironed it. You guys can see the traces over here, so this would help me in taking my body measurement. So I hope you can see this thing I'm using my fingers to run across. I made sure my fabric was facing the right part, and then I placed my tape at the shoulder area, and then what I'm just going to do is to measure out my bust point. And so for this part, my bust point, what I'm taking for my bust point is 8.5, but before then I took in my waist point. So my shoulder to my waist length was 15, so I marked 15 at this point, and then my bust point is 8.5. So this will determine my measurement. So the part where I put 8.5 is where I'm going to mark my bust circumference. The part where I marked 15 is the part where I'm going to mark my waist circumference. After doing this, I still placed my tape at my shoulder area, and then I came down by 22 inches, which will represent my hip area. So it's my shoulder to my hip length is 22 inches. So that is just what I did over here. I'm going to repeat the same process at the other side of it. So we have our bust, our waist, and our hip points over here. So the next thing I did was to measure out my waist circumference. So for this part, if your waist circumference is 33, I will advise you using 6 inches, adding 6 inches extra. So if your waist is 33, you use 39 inches, because this is a free butterfly gown, so don't make it exactly your waist measurement. So just add 6 inches to all your body measurements. If your waist is 24, you can add 6 inches, making it to be 30. So adding 6 inches to it is perfectly okay. So I advise you to add 6 inches in all your waist measurements, in all your body measurements. So this is just what I did here, and I just connected my bust line and my waistline together. I'm also going to repeat the same process at my hip line. So after doing this at my hip line, I marked out my hip, adding 6 inches to it. If my hip is 35, I'm going to add 6 inches, giving me what, 41. So 41 divided by 4 is going to give me what I'm marking over here. So I connected my waist to my hip point. You can see how I connected it. So the next measurement we are going to take is, we are just going to come down by what we got for our hip measurement. So what we got for our hip measurement is just what I'm going to come all the way down by. So if it's 10 that I got for my hip measurement, I'm coming all the way down by 10 inches to the bottom part. So that's just what I'm doing over here at this point. So guys, you can see what I'm doing. I'm just coming all the way down by my hip point, so please don't get confused. I pretty much hope that you are understanding this tutorial over here. So I got to this point, and then from my bottom point, I'm just going to go up by 13 inches. And why I'm going up by 13 inches is because of, I just wanted it to have like an opening at the bottom part. So I'm not just going to sew all the way to the open part, so sorry, all the way to the bottom part. I'm just going to stop as the area where I marked 13 inches. So you could see this place that I marked Exterix is where I stopped. So the next thing I'm just going to do is, following my chalk as a guide, I'm just going to go ahead to sew all over these areas using my chalk as a guide, and I'm going to stop at this point because like I said, it's going to have an opening. So that's just what I did at both sides. What I'm just going to do here is to sew on top of all these areas that I use my chalk to chalk down. So my chalk is going to serve as a guide to sewing over all these areas that I showed you guys. So I stopped at this point, like I said. So the next thing I'm just going to do is, I folded it into two, and I came in by 1 inches at my neck area. Remember guys, we came in by half before, so half was too small. I then decided to come in by 1 inch. So when I open it, it's going to give me 2 inches, because this is a scrub neckline we are going to do. So coming in by 1 inch is better than half an inch, just to make sure it looks much more better. So that's just what I did, and then I just went ahead to trim the points that I came in by. So that is just what I did. So this is what it's looking like. If you measure it, if you measure the width of this area, it's just going to give you 2 inches. So I measured this point, and so sorry you can't see the tape over here. I measured this point, and then it gave me 2 inches. You could see what it gave me. So I folded this, came out by 1 inches. So what I'm just doing now is to measure out the whole roundness of my neckline. So that is just what I'm going to use to cut my band. So I measured out the whole length of my neckline, and you can see that it gave me 29.5 inches. So it gave me 29.5. So this is what I'm using for my neckline, and this is a blue material, is a plain I'm using for the neckline, and it's folded into two. So I'm just going to show you using my tape. Remember guys, the neckline is 2 inches. Remember, do not forget, it's 2 inches. So this band should also be 2 inches. So I folded it into two, and it gave me 4 inches. Because it's going to be on fold, so I made it 4 inches. And because of sewing allowance, instead of 4 inches, I'm going to be working with what, 4.5 inches. So when I fold it and attach it, it's just going to give me 2 inches. So the width that you get for your scrub is what you are going to use for the band. So if your width is 2 inches for the scrub area, yours should also be 2 inches at the band area. So it should not be more than, so that if you want it to relax, if you want your scrub to relax, that's the scrub neckline to relax, you have to use the same inches you use for it. So if you go in by 2 inches, you should also do the same for the band area. So remember guys, the length of it was 29.5 inches, but instead of 29.5 inches, I added in about 4 inches extra, 4 inches extra. So it's important you should also do that. Adding in 2 inches is not right, so you should just add 4 inches. So this is what it's looking like after doing it. So I just went in to fold it. So if I fold it like this, it's going to give me 2.5 inches. So I already went ahead to fold it, and I also ironed it. You guys can see how it's looking like. So that was why we use 4.5. So as it is on fold now, it is 2.5. So you guys, sorry I lost the clip of how I placed it, but don't get confused. All I did was I just sewed this all around, and I stopped at the area of that 2 inches. So I stopped at that area. You could see that this area is not sewed. We did not sew that area. I did not sew that area, so I just turned it to the front. You can see what I did. I turned it to the front, and then I'm just going to tuck in my excesses. So this is the back part. You can see I made sure that this part is lapping with this other part. You can see what I did. I just placed it so that it will lap with each other. You can see what I did. So that was why I said that you should use more than adding 6 inches is best, because of this part, so that you will not run short of band. So this is just what I did. I made sure that it lapped each other perfectly well. So I'm just fixing it so that it would lap each other. I make sure that they were relaxing on each other, so you should also do the same. I turned it to the other side, so you can see what I did. You remember, these sides are not sewn yet, so I'm just going to sew it in a straight line. So I'm just going to sew it in a straight line using my finger as a direction. So that's just what I did. So after sewing it, this is what it was looking like, guys. After sewing it, you could see how the neck is, and then I'm just going to show you where I sewed. You could see where I sewed that 2 inches part, so that was the area I sewed together. So what I'm just going to do is to trim off this blue because it was much, so that was why I trimmed it off. I'm just going to go ahead to show you guys the front, and there you go, guys. This is our butterfly dress. I'm just going to show you guys the final look.